Well, I bet it's because of the rain we've had.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
washing it.
And that's why there are tire tracks leading away from the pile. Muddy track. Pile of dirt. And it's a mill pond, shows mill ponds, county forest. We had a bunch of dirt. Actually, Jason Peters came and put in a conversation. Just scraped it off and then put down fill. Well, where you scrape it, you just pile it up. We were using that to build. So the neighbors are excited. They see it. I'm like, okay.
Lynn, have you heard anything? Has Craig said anything to you about not coming?
Not to me, but apparently he told the mayor.
Oh, he's not coming. Okay. Where was the last to know?
Last year. Well.
To order. Let me know when you're ready to go. Okay. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Lynn, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Miley.
Here.
Ball. Here. Apple is absent. Venti. I don't think so.
There she is.
Yeah.
I didn't touch anything, so.
Can you say something?
I can't hear you.
Never send a boy. Got any jokes for Harry?
President doesn't mind waiting. Okay, so it's big enough me. Deborah, can you hear me? Okay. Oh, yeah, this is the problem I was having. You can try just using laptop speakers. We'll be able to hear. I think. Deborah? Oh, there.
We can hear you on the laptop, but not over the speaker.
That's the option I got for you.
All right. So back to roll call. Venti? Here. Ray?
Here.
Kupka? Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. First item of business is approval of the minutes from our special session on June 23rd, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Actually, because Deborah is attending virtually, we have to do roll call.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So, Miley?
Here, yeah, aye.
Ball?
Here.
Venti? Aye. Okay, so we have to do roll call because you are attending virtually. And so this is for the approval of the minutes. Okay, Ray? Okay, non-voting. Okay.
Okay. Next item of business, TIF number 1.
Okay. TIF number 1, I have nothing. TIF number 2, I have nothing. So TIF number 3, you have, and I apologize that it came late. The timing was less than ideal, but you have resolution number 2025-1164, a resolution of the City of Plymouth Redevelopment Commission accepting an interest in Plymouth RDC Center LLC. There were several documents that you got sent to you to go along with this. This is for the Aquatic Center. And I'll try to explain it concisely, but if you have questions, I will elaborate. If it's confusing, I'll try to explain it. The original structure was set up because of the new market tax credits that were used as part of the financing for that. And it required multiple entities and elaborate configuration. The property itself is owned by Marshall County Life Center. And that entity owns both the Aquatic Center and the Community Foundation building with Community Foundation, United Way, and the Growing Kids Learning Center, because that was all part of one financing project through the new market tax credits. The Life Center then leased the Aquatic Center to an entity called Marshall County Health and Wellness. They had a master lease, and then they had subleases to the city, the school corporation, and Scylla, and then they worked with the entity that operates the facility. Because the new market tax credits have now been unwound, some of those pieces can go away, and the Aquatic Center and the Community Foundation building can be separated. So what's proposed is that the ownership of the Aquatic Center transfer to this new entity, Plymouth RDC Center LLC. And then both the Marshall County Life Center and Marshall County Health and Wellness will be dissolved. They'll go away. The new LLC will also assume the leases with the city, the school corporation, and Ancilla. Because the Redevelopment Commission, you pay the majority of, well, you pay all of the debt finance on it and make the largest payment toward the facility. Then the proposal is for this new LLC to be
wholly under control of the redevelopment commission. So since you're paying the bills, you would have ultimate control over this entity that owns the aquatic center. We will go through and restructure it. Right now, the controlling entity has 3 board members, 1 appointed by the city, 1 by the school corporation, 1 by Ancilla. We'll likely keep that in place, but ultimately they will answer and report to you so that you can keep tabs on the ownership and operation of the facility. So that's, try to keep it concise. If you have questions about that, I'm happy to try to answer them. But ultimately, what we're asking with this resolution is for you to agree to that structure and agree in principle to accept the transfer of the real estate and the creation of that LLC. It has not been registered with the Secretary of State yet, so part of the resolution also authorizes Mike as president of Redevelopment Commission to sign any necessary documents to complete that formation and approve the operating agreement.
Jeff, this won't take effect per our conversation earlier today. The seed, is that correct?
Correct. Like I said, the LLC has not been registered yet. It does not formally exist. These are the proposed documents. The articles of organization would be filed with the Secretary of State to form the LLC, and then it would adopt the operating agreement, and then Mike would be authorized to sign the documents to accept the transfer to establish that.
So until that happens, the pool still belongs to this original entity, correct?
Correct. Okay. Yeah, it's not being transferred tonight. You're just authorizing that it will be transferred.
Okay. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but these other documents you sent out to us yesterday, I believe, are these going to be acted on tonight, or is this for later?
No, none of those need to be signed tonight.
Okay.
Like I said, the resolution that is before you authorizes the president of the Redevelopment Commission to sign those documents when it comes time to close on all the transactions.
Okay. Do you want to talk about those tonight, or you want to do it?
I can answer questions.
Or should we wait till?
If you have specific ones, I don't know how deep you want me to go into them. The articles of organization are pretty standard. Those are simply articles to file with the Secretary of State to create the LLC. The operating agreement,
I think that's the one I had the most.
Discusses the structure of that, and there may be some changes to that before it's finalized. Let me pull up the document here. Did you have specific questions about it, Mike?
It talks about the company and the member, so we're going to act as both. Can you talk a little bit about that structure?
The company is the LLC.
Okay.
And an LLC exists as a separate entity.
Yes.
It's distinct from the Redevelopment Commission. When it is initially formed, Marshall County Economic Development Corporation will be the initial member because they control the entities that own the aquatic center right now.
When it wasn't, not in the future. That.
Right, the way it is right now.
The
way it is right now, they control Marshall County Life Center and Marshall County Health and Wellness.
Yeah.
So what's happening with this operating agreement is MCEDC will be the initial member as it's established, and then as everything is transferred from the original entity to this new LLC, then MCEDC will exit and RDC, the Redevelopment Commission, will step in
as the new
to
member.
Take their place as the new member, and it will be a single member LLC. So the Redevelopment Commission will have total control.
And then, like you say, there looks like there's another entity here, the company.
So the company is the new LLC.
Okay.
That's being created.
Okay, so it's not two different.
Okay. No, it's not too different. Company just refers to Plymouth RDC Center LLC.
Okay. Got you.
And all the references in here to, and a lot of this is boilerplate in an operating agreement, but where it talks about principal office, the business, management, salaries, expenses, accounting, all of that applies to Plymouth RDC Center LLC, not to the Redevelopment Commission. So, and in discussing with the clerk treasurer, she pointed out that Redevelopment Commission can't have employees. You wouldn't under this. You would simply have the ownership of this entity, the LLC, that could potentially, I can't foresee any scenario where it would have employees, but if it ever did, it's already addressed in the operating agreements.
So what you're
Does that
asking
help?
for tonight is approval of resolution 2025-1164, correct?
Correct.
Do we have a motion?
I'll
Wh-
second.
Discussion, any questions? Deborah, do you have anything? Okay. All right. Hearing no further discussion, do we need a roll call? Sorry.
Wall,
Aye.
Benji, Ray, Miley.
Aye. Okay, motion's
Okay.
carried.
Moving on then, I have nothing on TIF 4, I have nothing on TIF 5. TIF 6, we still have the Centennial Crossing project update on there, but I have no updates. Nothing that directly affects Redevelopment Commission. I can tell you that the streets in the development, the existing development, have been dedicated to the city. They are finalizing some of the information about the lighting infrastructure so it can be dedicated to the city. I have not heard any updates on future expansions, so there's nothing currently in the works
Okay.
that I'm aware of. No update on TIF 7. TIF 8, Water Street Townhome Project is moving along. Kevin didn't come to that.
No.
I got to tour the building the other day. The fire department was taking a tour so that they can see how it's constructed and be prepared just in case there's ever a call. I've got to join them for the walkthrough, and Kevin Berger assures me that they are still on schedule. They're planning to be open and ready to lease by sometime in November. So there's a lot of stuff going on. You can't see it all. You can't see the brick now going up.
Yeah.
But most of the work is being done inside where you can't see it yet, but I can assure you it is moving along rapidly. And that brings us to other business. So I believe we have some representatives of the Reese Theater that would like to talk to you.
Randy?
When can I use your clicker?
This is like deja vu, I think. I watched you on TV last night.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Do we need to state names and addresses tonight?
Donna Pontius, 8801 Union Road, Plymouth.
Randy Danielson, 12638 Emerald Court, Plymouth.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Oh, we're waiting on that. This would be a good idea, huh? We can do a song and dance.
Well, I can say they look friendlier than last night.
Oh.
Sorry, man.
Randy, before you start,
Yes.
last night you made reference to the packet that was sent to us and the council.
Yes.
And you mentioned a business plan in there. Do you know?
The business plan was sent to them directly. I
Okay,
can send
'cause-
that to all of you.
Yeah,
as
if
well.
you would, or
Absolutely.
get it to Lynn and
Yeah.
she can send it off to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send
I'd
that
appreciate
on my
it.
own.
We'd appreciate that. Thank you.
It's long, so
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. Go ahead.
thanks for asking.
See, I was watching.
It was up and then it crashed.
Wonderful.
All right. So now we're back.
Okay, so we can begin, huh? All right, so 8 years ago, when we appeared before you, Mike, I think you're the only one
Yeah.
that's seasoned, all right? We were all embarking on a journey of the unknowns. Just what would we uncover within or beneath the stately walls of the beloved theater with bones that dated back to the Civil War? Well, there were many, including a sinking foundation, a collapsed ceiling, and unsupported auditorium floor.
Tonight we return with the confidence of knowing that every unknown was discovered and a solution found and corrected through the generosity of many, including in-kind services from numerous local companies. Over our 6-year period with 4 phases of construction and never-ending fundraising, the Reese has been restored to an even greater splendor than its original grand opening in 1940.
And that's sure something that we can all be pretty proud of. So, a community's tapestry. The retail tapestry of any community is always evolving. But what has transpired on lot number 1 of the original 1836 plat map is truly remarkable. From the early days of our city to the present, names like Lowers, of course, Bosworth's, People's Drugstore, they all have come and gone. But for 85 years, the one constant thread in this community has been the Reese Theater. However, in 1987, the Reese was suffering a midlife crisis. And I don't think there's really anyone in this room that remembers it being that bad. I moved my wife here in 1988 and family, and it's hard to imagine that that's what it looked like at that point. But the Reese is as significant today as it was in 1940.
Our mission is to provide a conduit for the support and promotion of artistic, educational, and cultural events in the region, as well as offer a venue to celebrate life and community milestones. Our 6 pillars of service, as you see there, that enhance everyone's quality of life include cinema, dance, events, theater, education, and music. And how that translates to the experience of those visiting the Reese, we'd like to invite our board president, Pat Popa, and current marketing director, Brian Teal, forward. Well,
Brian Teal, 5018 West Shore Drive, Bremen, Indiana.
Pat Popa, 12323 Chippewa Trail, Culver.
Sweet, I got it right the first click. First off, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. I know public service, and I know what the RDC does for the Bremen community, and I do appreciate you guys listening to us this evening. So as Randy said, the Reese Theater is lot number 1 here in Plymouth. And thanks to the vision of the Danielsons and the founding board and a whole host of donors and community partners, funding partners, the Reese is not a parking lot today. It is a vibrant, multi-use purpose facility enriching our community. The Reese now provides affordable access to the arts, hosting a variety of events that not only service our community, but also attracts visitors from outside our county. I think what Pat's about to share with you will truly resonate about her community, where she came from.
Hi there. I was actually the president of the RDC in Highland for 2 years, 2005 and 2006, so I'm very familiar with RDC. So just recently the torch has been passed to me by Randy Danielson, and I proudly serve as president of the board, helping to guide the vision for its continued growth. I've been a Marshall County resident for 33 years, 30 part-time and 2 full-time. When I became a full-time resident, I fell in love with the Reese. It's a magical place. It's not just a building, it's a sparkling new space that brings people together through music, film, arts, and shared experiences. Years ago, I was involved in efforts to save the Town Theater in Highland. It's the same vintage as the Reese, both built in 1940, and the community fought very hard to save it. We got memberships, we had fundraisers, we sold t-shirts, we had signs all over town, but the Town Theater is even featured on the Highland South Shore poster. But despite the passion, the leadership didn't have a long-term plan, and the building was torn down. Today, it's just a vacant lot and a missed opportunity. And quite ironically, the Highland is a town, so it's run by a town council. So there was 2 for, 2 against investing in the town theater, and the guy who voted no was our local funeral director. And you cannot make this up. Just such an irony. So that experience is one of the reasons I care so deeply about what we're building here. I've experienced firsthand what an economic impact the Reese has had on this community. There are dozens of people who dine at the Brass Rail, Opie's, and the new Yellow River Tap, and then attend shows at the Reese. Do you think the Yellow River would have been built had it not been for the Reese? Good question. Next. Can you click it? Thank you. So, touching the lives of youth and seniors. Just as the theater has been resurrected, the Missoula's Children Theater was resurrected and brought back to Plymouth this year. There were 27 children who attended a week-long children's camp and learned how to act and put on a play in 1 week. They did a performance on Friday night and a matinee on Saturday. 260 patrons came to watch. It was so successful, most parents were asking, are we going to do it again next year? One family in town has offered to host the Missoula people in their home next year. South Bend Symphony comes every year. It's a free event called Tea and Symphony. It's a very classy and elegant event, and it's extremely well attended. The second Wednesday of each month, we show a seasoned citizen movie, an affordable afternoon of entertainment that is growing in popularity. So for $8, if you're 55 or older, you get a popcorn, a soda, and a movie. We show classics like Breakfast at Tiffany's, The Sting, Barefoot in the Park. You can't beat it. So as you can see, there's something for everyone at the Reese.
So since my employment last fall in October, I've worked closely with the board to refine our programming, ensuring that all corners of our community truly get to experience the magic of the Reese and the transformative power of the arts. One of the ways we've done this is through collaborative fundraising efforts, partnerships that not only benefit the Reese, but lift up local nonprofits doing important work here in the county. Some recent examples of that would be Marshall County Church Orchestra, the Purdue Alumni Association of Marshall County, and also the Plymouth Volunteer Fire Department. We did one this weekend where we brought in a pretty famous comic that was actually featured on the Bob and Tom show this past Monday, and the Reese Theater got a nice little shout out by Tom, which was great. So that's pretty awesome. You know, these events have shown the power of partnership and that the Reese is more than just a venue. It's a place for collaboration, community, and shared success. Here's the tangible value. You know, since its opening back in 2022, we've had over 235 performances and movies, 38 nonprofit events in the last 3 years. We've had 82 private events, and we've averaged about 75 hours of volunteers every month. We've also had 50 plus 5-star ratings. Just as recently, we've hosted a number of Okra events here at the theater where we've met with them, including Mayor Listenberger has been part of some of those meetings. And we also hosted the Secretary of State of Indiana. So had some pretty big events, and I think Mr. Miley himself has been at those as well. I'm sure I'd like to pass it back to Pat to share some of these reviews that we've received as well.
These are just a couple of the wonderful reviews that we've gotten. First one says, one word, beautiful. Once you see a movie, play, or concert here, you'll want to come back again and again. I'm so glad this jewel of Marshall County was saved. This place is beautiful, very tastefully restored. The whole building is awesome. Modern amenities worked into the wonderful restoration, and they have great musicians, dueling pianos, bands, comedy acts. Check it out, you won't be disappointed.
So currently underway, we have the 3rd floor construction of Stewie and Opal's Hideaway, which is going to become known as simply Stewie's. That will continue yet this summer. That will provide an updated admin space for the Reese, and enable live streaming to nursing homes and assisted living facilities throughout Marshall County. As Brian mentioned about the Purdue Varsity Glee Club, that performance, we were able to do that. We live streamed to those facilities, to the Glee of Many, and we did that through an association with Triton. They brought their equipment over.
Was that video as well as audio?
It was.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
That's terrific.
Oh, good.
That's terrific.
Great to hear that.
Yeah, great outreach.
This will also allow us gathering space, so an increased gathering space where we can do private event, and that translates into revenue. So looking into the future, what we would like to do is acquire the NARE building. So our goal by 2027 is, in conjunction with the city, the REEs would apply for an Indiana Community Development Block Grant to restore and utilize the building for retail, continued retail, and support space for the theater.
Reese's total investment to date has been $4.2 million. Of this $4.2 million, you'll see government-based funding was $2,115,000 total, which included federal, state, and municipal funding. And it also included 2 city facade grants of $25,000 each. Private donor support totaled $2,085,000. Private donations of $1,485,000 and $600,000 of in-kind services and materials.
And as you may remember, you launched our capital campaign with $575,000. Many of you have seen this rendering already of the East LaPorte Street elevation. That would become another great visual for the community. I mean, look at that and think about having dinner over at the new TAF. And I think it's a stately look for our city. So we are here for 2 asks this evening, and we've separated those. So the first is the streetscape project. The estimated cost of that installation is $150,000. 2 local contractors, James Stone, Stone Excavating, and Jason Hunt of Hunt Concrete, have stepped forward offering in-kind support for the REEs and the community by covering up to half of that cost in rendered services. It would include, the project would include the widening of the sidewalk, 3 tree wells, 2 decorative lamps, and brick inlays with donor inscriptions. The bricks would, of course, be furnished by the Reese Theater. We are asking the city for your involvement of up to $75,000 or half of that project. And we do have an overhead of the walk if you'd like to see it.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. That doesn't mess you up. Are there questions? No, it would be widened. It's already been widened down at the entry doors below the hill. So it was widened 2 feet by the city, actually. And they did that project for us. So it would be extending it up to the top of the hill where there would be a natural break. Because of the thought of the city doing a completely new streetscape, that was one of the questions last evening. But it would tie in right at the top of the hill. And the elevation and the grade of that intersection is probably exactly where it will end up, at least until it starts around the corner when they want to do the bump outs. But it'll tie in right there. And then you can see the 2 ribbons of brick. Those would be very similar to what is on Michigan Street, but those would be the donor inlay bricks. And then the tree wells. Yes. We did. It's really because of the tree wells. If Brent were here, he'd explain it to you probably better, but we are using a narrow tree well. It's not square like the ones down on Michigan. But it's allowing for that extra 2 feet. And that section of East LaPorte Street is much wider than it is across the street on West LaPorte Street. So it's not going to create a hindrance at all to any kind of vehicular traffic, or what you might be concerned about too would be unloading of trucks and things. So there should be plenty of room for passage.
Randy, are you putting grates similar to the trees along Michigan Street on that?
That is being discussed with.
Because we've had problems with the trees growing and then.
Correct. Now these trees, we don't want to become big, so that the variety that will be, I'm not going to go back to that. Yeah, I can go back to that. So the variety will be a narrow columnar type of tree, because we actually placed those panels on the south wall to accommodate those. But the problem that was mentioned, that they might switch to mulch or stone. Problem that you would have there on that elevation, if we get a torrential rain, all of that is going to wash out of there, and even the stones will if you have that much flow of water. So I would still suggest the grates. I know they make those in a heavy fiberglass now too. I've seen them in Chicago. So, maybe it's a consideration to still stay with something.
Yeah.
But stones can be thrown by kids too, and that's
Right.
not smart.
Yeah, I just know we've talked about it for years, the problems with the existing grates up here strangling the trees.
No other questions on that project? Okay.
So Randy leaves me with the big one of debt relief.
You can do it, Don.
I gotta turn you down.
The Reese Theater is a 501c3 public charity and exists to uplift Plymouth and the surrounding communities. Our present financial status is existing debt of $390,000, which means $32,000 in interest.
It's annual.
Annually, yeah. Oh my God, if it was a month, I wouldn't be here. So the Reese is seeking to achieve an even operating balance. That would give us more, help me out, Randy, that it would allow us to concentrate on financial sustainability through grant sponsorships and memberships.
Questions about that? We know it's a big ask. We really feel, and I think many of you feel the same that I have spoken to on council and others, that it has provided the community an incentive to invest more in this community. We have probably the least amount of empty storefronts that we've had in years. Jack gave a report last evening. So the payback for what was invested to begin with versus where we're at today. So we're asking for an additional investment. Is really what we're doing. And at the time, I think everybody was a little reluctant that we were half crazy trying to even do this project. So you might have been a little timid at that point.
What does that payment look like monthly right now?
Illinois? What we're paying right now is interest only. And every once in a while, like we got a gift, bequeathal. She's been very good about whittling it down. I think when we ended and opened the doors, we were at $465. But it's now that we're open, and you have staffing and all the other expenses, it's really strangling us to operate. And if you did get in your packet, did you get a statement from the last year to date?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
You'll see that we are, for that year, July 1st, we are $36,000, in the red. So, I mean, we make up for that, but 32,000 is a line item that, we could, I won't say quite easily, but I think we could make that up in grants and sponsorships that we really haven't been able to turn our attention to fully. I think it's pretty remarkable as well, and that was mentioned by Pat and Brian. 75 average hours of volunteerism out of this community for that venue. I mean, the love continues. It's not that it fell by the wayside. And when I do get you the business plan, and I know you're going to think about this, but Jack Davis authored the business plan. It is extensive, but it is a sustainable plan. It's going to take effort, like anything else. But it is a 501c3, as you see, and it is a public charity. So it's not a for-profit. No one's gaining anything from this, only the community and lifting up others. And that's what we try to do really on a daily basis. But funding the Reese is not just an investment in that building. It's a commitment to preserving a cultural cornerstone for generations to come. And you've seen that up there many times, the new Plymouth logo. And not only that, we continue to promote the Moon. Anytime they have a performance, it's on there. Anytime, like Heartland Artists, when they do the art in the streets, that'll be on there. The museum, when they have events. So we're trying to lift arts and culture throughout this community, and even county. We'll have something about Culver Lake Fest, I think, is this weekend. We have the 4-H fair up there as we speak. So it is a beacon for the city, and I think the surrounding county. Are there questions?
Randy, you have some of your folks here. Does anyone else like to address the Redevelopment Commission? No. Nelson, come up. State your name, please.
I understand that. Good evening. My name's Nelson Chipman, 16465 Pretty View Drive, Plymouth. I appear here to endorse the request by the Reese Theater for financial support. I watched last night's City Council meeting by Zoom as several individuals spoke passionately in support of the Reese, and as well as tonight, and talked about all sorts of events. This past Friday, I attended with Susan. We attended a movie. It was a kickoff for the film series for America 250. And Saturday night, we attended the comedians that Brian mentioned. A bit irreverent. I even blushed, but very, very, very interesting. And the response by the mayor last night and the council members was very encouraging. I wish I had attended. It frankly kept me awake. My failure drove me here tonight. But I want to take a slightly different approach. Last night, elected officials were addressed, elected representatives of the citizens of Plymouth who deal with the whole wide range of municipal governance. This evening, we're addressing appointed officials, appointed to the Redevelopment Commission, among whose objectives are very limited, somewhat, which include to combat blight and deterioration, promote economic development, optimize land use, quote, promote the use of land in a manner that best serves the social and economic interests of the city and its residents. Quality of life, enhance the overall quality of life for its residents by improving aesthetics, living conditions, and providing for public infrastructure and facilities. To the extent those objectives refer to a place, let me say this, the Reese Theater is a magical place. Here is how I'm going to try to take a different approach. I'm going to embark on a conglomeration of quotes from all sorts of individuals throughout the years. It would be confusing if I were to give proper attribution, so just know these are not my words. The word theater comes from the Greeks. It means the seeing place. It is the place people come together to see the truth about life and their social situation. The theater is a spiritual and social x-ray of its time. The theater was created to tell people the truth about life and their social situation. A theater is the most important sort of house in the world because that's where people are shown what they could be if they wanted, and what they'd like to be if they dared to, and what they really are. Theater connects us. It breaks down walls and shows us that we are all part of the same story. Theater is the most immediate way in which a human being can share with another the sense of what it is to be a human being. Theater is a form of knowledge. It should and can also be a means of transforming society. Theater can help us build our future rather than just waiting for it. Vanessa Redgrave once said, "We all come to the theater with baggage. The baggage of our daily lives, the baggage of our problems, the baggage of our tragedies, the baggage of being tired. It doesn't matter what age you are, but if our hearts get opened and released, well, that is what theater can do, and sometimes does, and everyone is thankful when that happens." And Sir Laurence Olivier, how could I not have a quote from Sir Laurence Olivier? "I believe that in a great city, or even in a small city or village, a great theater is the outward and visible sign of an inward and probable culture." And lastly, the children of our community. Theater can transform a child's life, just as an early cultural experience, whether with opera, ballet, music, or art, or a film, is a wonderful thing because it opens the door to a lifelong experience of lifelong enjoyment. So I will end where I began. The Reese is a magical place. Please do all you can to help spread and sustain the joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Well stated. Thank you. Anyone else like to follow that? I think what I'm going to do first is, Mayor, would you want to get up and fill the board in on what transpired with the council last night, where you're at?
Yeah, so we heard what you just heard, except for Nelson. Awesome job, Nelson. And it was, I pretty much can say, unanimous. We didn't take a vote. What I had asked is that we consider this, table it, figure out exactly where some may come from redevelopment on these asks, and some from other sources from the council. So we want to get with Lynn, and Jeff and I will, if you're in support and you want us to move forward, I don't know if there's a need to do a formal vote tonight, other than,
I thought you guys did of a.
we tabled it. We voted
Yeah,
to
I thought you
table
did a
it,
support.
but we all spoke also in support of,
Okay.
to allow
Okay.
us time to, because there's not a specific between, in my opinion, in my mind, who's paying
Yeah.
what. If we're all in agreement of this, I think a vote of support would be nice. Would that work, Jeff?
Yeah, you can do essentially what the council did, which, well, they voted to table it, but I think every council member spoke in favor of it.
Yeah.
If you'd like, you can, take action, a resolution in support of the request, with the understanding that we'll have to come back with more details to actually take action on it.
So at your next month's meeting, we might have a specific ask of a dollar amount or how it's gonna be paid out. And, we didn't talk about this last night, Randy, but, if there's a way we spread these payments over years, that would be a help. I know that would help, when we do these. We might have spoke about that a little bit, but, so that could be, we may come to you with, hey, here's what we wanna do, and we wanna do it over 2 or 3 years or something like that, that could be what we come up with, I don't know. So,
We understand.
so, anyway, that's how I think we should leave it, is, if you're dead against it, let us know. If you want us to continue on this route and support it, the resolution saying you support this effort, and, yeah.
I think that's the way I would like to handle it, if you're all in agreement. I would like to have a vote, if we are in support of it, to throw it back into the mayor's hands and clerk treasurer's and Jeff's hands to come back to us with a funding plan. But we're in favor of the process, I believe, and the overall project. We're supportive, I think, if that's the case.
I have a question.
Yes.
So was the committee last night, the council last night, were they in support of both parts of this project, the streetscape as well as the, okay?
I would say yes. Again, but I spoke up and said that we would figure out whose portion of what, we would do. So there wasn't specific enough for them to say yes to a certain amount or something like that. But I think, so as they mentioned before, we are going to do, eventually this community is going to want a downtown streetscape renovation. And so that kind of is what started Randy and I talking about this, what caused us to kind of start talking about the downtown streetscape, because we know what's going to happen. We want it to be able to tie in together. So some shape or form down the road, that section will be been taken care of, and we won't be paying for that on the streetscape. So that's a good thing. So that portion of the project will be out of the way. So to answer your question, I think they were in support of both. But so yeah.
Any other questions? Would someone like to make a motion to support the mayor and administration, come back with a plan, funding plan to us, and then see how it fits in with our financial, I'm sure they'll take that into consideration in their proposal.
Yeah, I'll motion.
When they come back to us.
Absolutely.
Okay, got a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on it? All in favor?
Anything, Deborah? Deborah, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Lynn.
Deborah, can you hear me? Deborah? Yes. Do you have any questions on the REITs? Okay. So we'll take a vote now.
We have a motion and a second. Lynn, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Ball?
Aye.
Venti? Ray?
Aye.
Miley?
Aye. Motion's carried. I just want to make a couple comments before you get back up about the Reese. As Randy mentioned, I was here from the beginning, and you know, one of the things that was adamant to me, I didn't want another hole in downtown Plymouth. You know, we need another I don't want to see another parking lot in this town, unless it's a high rise or something. You know, because I think it's terrible to have so many holes in our community. This is a great thing over here too, to make look like a thriving downtown to me. You guys have put together a terrific group of volunteers. You're really fortunate to have the people you have supporting you guys, because they do a wonderful job when you have events there. I think, you know, it brought me back to the grand reopening. We had the party in the streets, and I'm thinking that was probably one of the greatest events I've ever attended in this city. And I'd like to see the city do something like that again for some type of a fundraiser for several other things. It was fabulous. It was just a wonderful event. You guys can be commended for that. I think it brought a lot of people together. It sure did. Yeah. Thank you guys. Okay, that's all I got. Sorry.
Okay, Deborah wants to say something.
Nope.
You're only on the laptop, so you have to talk really, really loud. Yes.
Thank you.
Jeff.
So I think where we left that is a really appropriate transition into your next presentation, because the Reese Theater is just one of many projects. So Mayor mentioned the downtown streetscape. I think you're all aware that there are quite a few proposed projects that are being planned in some stage of development. And managing all of that, planning for all of that is a really complicated task. Last year, you approved a contract with Infocus to assist the city with project management and planning services. And I can tell you that it has been a game changer for trying to wrap our heads around all of the things going on and try to plan ahead. So since you, the Redevelopment Commission, are paying for the contract, we wanted to bring Infocus here tonight to give you an update on what's been accomplished and what's being planned. So Lisa Slomka is here. She is our Infocus Fellow, and hopefully you all have met her. If not, then you should join one of our meetings. But she'll be presenting our quarterly.
Except we can't all go at the same time. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Jeez. Was it something we said? I guess we're adjourned. Oh, no.
So I'm not sure if I also need to state an address, but as a representative of Infocus, I am Lisa Slomka here representing Infocus. Our address is 635 South Lafayette Boulevard, Suite 105 in South Bend, Indiana, 46601. All right. Jeff already introduced me, and I just said my name again. I am a fellow working for Infocus, working with the City of Plymouth on some project management needs throughout the course of the year. We did technically begin at the end of 2024, but we are reporting mostly on a quarterly basis to you guys. Oh, there we go. Today we're going to be focusing on a general project overview as well as a little bit about our Q1 and Q2 sprints, and then an introduction to what we will be focusing on in Q3. Some background: as you're aware, the City of Plymouth has been launching several special projects and initiatives over the recent months and looking forward into the next several years. They have contracted and focused to help with their project management needs in support of that. So that's involved development of tools to help with their capacity and their ability to manage these, as well as helping them with strategic planning for these projects going forward. This is a look at our overall project goals as well as broken down quarter by quarter. Overall, these are focused around project management. In Q1, we focused on developing a project management tool and general assessment of the city's needs. And then in Q2, we transitioned to focusing a little bit more on developing a long-term project planning tool as well as ongoing project management support. In Q1, we began with, end of 2024, we began with informational interviews, gathering information about the mayor's team's needs, their processes around this. A lot of it lived in Jeff's head, and he's incredibly capable, but we wanted to lighten the load a little bit. This developed into some initial project management tools to help build habits around the process, and then transferring over into a more robust tool within Microsoft SharePoint, which involved training and implementation and ongoing support throughout the rest of the spring. This is a quick look at some of those initial project management tools, including a Gantt chart for long-term task projection, as well as a task tracker to dig more in a more detailed way into those tasks, with room for more details about who is in charge, what issues might come up, what needs there are, as well as a way to look at the dates and keep tabs on what is coming up in the near future. What we accomplished through the use of these initial project management tools was to really right-size the city's project management needs, make sure that the tools that we were developing addressed the needs they had, that it included the right information, and that it was a process they were comfortable with. We were also able to help build collaborative habits, especially around documentation, so that there could be more sustainable collaboration going forward. These initial tools progressed into a Microsoft SharePoint that has two views. The primarily used view is a buckets view, which has the different projects laid out in columns that can be expanded into all of the tasks related to that project. And each task can be expanded into a task card that has more details as well as a space to take notes on needs. And you are also able to assign specific tasks to specific people, to different stakeholders on the project. We also have a all items view that is those same tasks but displayed in a list format, and then this is organized by project and then due date. By incorporating this project management tool into the Microsoft tools that the city already used, we're able to help make these tools more centralized and collaborative and allow them to be more closely integrated. It also allows for more opportunity for more collaborative tools to be used. Things like teams could be transitioned into over time as the city sees fit, and it will also allow for easier sharing across departments going forward. I want to highlight the 3 projects we focused on in Q1. We wanted to focus on a few initial projects to make sure that we weren't juggling too much information and that we were really given a chance to dive into the process. The projects we focused on were the River Valley Housing Project, the Sustainable Housing Project, as well as the Infill Project. This is a look at a project value assessment we put together for the mayor's team. I want to focus on the outcomes and the impact. As I've discussed, we developed a project management tool, but we also put together a housing project process map with our River Valley developer partner, which is a process that goes over how the city interacts with vendors, and that has the potential to be used with other vendors going forward. We also helped bring those three initial projects from just being an idea to being developed throughout that idea phase, then through strategy, through building out the strategy. And then of those 3 projects, 2 were brought through initial project kickoff stages. As far as impact goes, we were able to give the city back 430 hours of time saved that was able to be repurposed into strategic planning processes and more time spent with the community. And then because of our comprehensive consulting model that involves not only assessment and design and implementation, but also support, we have been able to provide the city over $25,000 in cost savings per quarter in consulting fees. Jumping over to Q2, a quick update on project management. We were able to add 5 new projects to the project management tool, as well as the introduction of a bi-weekly check-in meeting with different project stakeholders for these projects. And this is really a collaborative space to allow for the different stakeholders to come together, learn about the other projects, see where there might be overlap, ways to help, and to bring specific asks, as well as to keep track of any ongoing tasks. This is a look at the long-term project planning tool that we developed a little bit towards the end of Q1 and then throughout Q2. This is still in development. We're still refining it and looking at ways to incorporate more data and also transition it to be more robust. But the overall goal is to give the mayor's team the opportunity to look at projects over time, over a several-year period, so they can explore possibilities for which projects to focus on at different times, what the different phases can look like, as well as begin thinking about what funds could be used at what times, whether or not grants should be pursued or other funding sources should be pursued. Again, we focused on 3 initial projects: the Centennial Park Pool, the Oak Road Corridor, and the Historic Firehouse. Each of these represent different kinds of municipal projects, whether it's transportation, private partnerships, or community assets. And the goal with these was to have these initial project stakeholder interviews to really dig into the meat of these projects, make sure that there wasn't anything we were missing about the process, and also identify what needs were coming up and ways that we could provide more support through use of a tool like the long-term project planning tool. Some key insights was that budgets and funding are the biggest stumbling block that these projects are facing, which probably doesn't come as a surprise. You always need money to do things, but questions around funding, about which grants to apply for, what asks they might be able to make, were the things that came up the most as something that prevented progress from moving forward. Additionally, on a happier note, we also got a lot of feedback that the chance to collaborate on these projects was incredibly useful, whether it was thinking out loud about something or getting additional perspectives or being able to ask for additional support from others. That was really valued for these projects. Which brings us to what was accomplished with the use of this long-term project planning tool. We were able to validate the need for funding planning and then opportunities for collaboration, as we just spoke about, but also we were able to give the mayor's team a chance to deeply use the initial long-term project planning tool and really begin thinking long-term and employ more strategy into how they approach these projects. We have another project value assessment for Q2, again focusing on outcomes and impact. We had the long-term project planning tool, the establishment of the collaborative check-in meetings. We also began work on the code enforcement process development, which is going to be our focus for Q3, and we'll get into that a little bit more in a minute. But something that we have done that we did towards the end of Q2 was to build out an initial process map so that we could begin getting things moving in advance of Q3 beginning. For impact, the main difference there is that this quarter we were able to provide 456 hours in time savings for the mayor's team. Now, Jeff already addressed this with his comments, so I won't go into it too much, but we have been very grateful to get a lot of positive feedback from the mayor's team on how we've been able to provide them with more capacity. They've expressed to us that they want to be able to both think long-term and deal with the very important day-to-day activities of not only running the city, but also interacting with citizens. And we're really happy that we've been able to provide them with more capacity to do both, to make sure that they can plan for both today and tomorrow. Right. Now jumping over to Q3, Our overall goals are to not only provide ongoing project management and long-term project planning support, but also really focus in on developing out a unified code enforcement process. As I said earlier, we developed an initial process map. The goal now is to bring that process map to different department heads and staff who are involved with the code enforcement process, and make sure to look for any gaps, any processes that we might be missing, any additional steps, as well as ask about any needs that need to be addressed, any pain points that there may be. And then once we have gathered that information, we plan to work with Mayor's team, the city planner, city attorney, and mayor on developing a centralized process and exploring possible management systems. This is a quick look at that process map. It begins with complaints that go then to the different departments, and then each of the departments interact with different codes. Some of them interact with multiple codes, and then that flows into the ongoing process that begins with an investigation, a warning, fine, going through either resolving the complaint or ongoing enforcement. And so we wanted to make sure to have a picture of the city's view of what this process looks like so that we could inform conversations. And this is a working document. We will be adding to this as we have those continuing conversations. But that is a preview of what we will be doing in Q3. That is all I have for you today. Any questions?
Thank you, Lisa. Terrific job as usual. I got to tell you, I've attended most of the planning meetings and focus meetings, and these guys are worth every penny we're paying. They really are. And the mayor, he's invited you all to come to a meeting. If you get an opportunity, please attend, because you'll see what a great job these guys are doing, all of them, and keeping the focus, what's out there in the future. When the mayor first invited me, what am I going to this for, you know? But it's really helped me too to see, okay, here's all these things we got on you know, in the works on the table. What, from a redevelopment standpoint, how are we going to manage that too? So it's been very helpful for me looking forward on different projects and things that may or may not come to redevelopment. So if you get an opportunity, come. But I think, Jeff, is it right we can only have 2 of us redevelopment members at that meeting?
At a time at those meetings.
Yeah. So kind of get a hold of the mayor's office.
If you're interested in coming, just reach out to the mayor's office beforehand and we'll coordinate to make sure that.
And so they can get you the time, because sometimes our meetings change days or times.
We're happy to kick Mike out if you want to.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, that it's just amazing to see how much work is going on in the city, and it's right there in front of you, you know. And okay, here's what we're looking for, you know, in 2026, 27. It makes it a long-term plan, so that you're not just looking at today, you know. And it just keeps them focused. It really does, you know. They're accountable every week to where we at with this, what's going on, you know. So thank you for all the work you guys do, and Matt, you too. Thank you. That's all I got. Thank you, Lisa. See you Friday. All right, next item, approval of redevelopment invoices. You all received a list in your packets. We have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
We have a second.
A second.
Any discussion? Questions? Hearing none. Lynn, would you please call the roll?
Ball. Aye. Bensy. Approval of minutes. Bensy.
You're muted.
Or claims, sorry. Yes. Thank you. Ray?
Aye.
Wiley?
Aye. Okay, motion's carried. Next item is acceptance of communications, trial balances, Reese Theater supporting documents, MCLC exit and RDC Center LLC documents, articles of organization, assignment and assumption agreements, operating agreements. Do we have a motion to approve the acceptance of communication?
A motion.
A second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Lynn?
Ball?
Aye.
Bensy? Ray?
Aye.
Wiley?
Aye. Motion's carried. Any other business to come before the redevelopment commission? Hearing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion?
We have a second.
Second.
Do we need a roll call for this? Okay. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Motion's carried. Thank you all.
The next meeting, the 19th,
Sorry?
the next meeting, the 19th.
I don't know.
Look at my
Me, I'll look at my calendar.
Yeah, it is.
Is it? Okay, thank you. Bye, Deborah.